you for joining Book Drive, presented by Dandelion Breeze Audio, planting seed while you read. This is a Fallen Whispers trademark copyright, short story copyright, Book 11. The air is fresh, crisp, like a new summer rain in the early morning of sunrise, just peeking over the top of a hillside. Unlike the winter crispness of the cold just before snow. Today, Mav, Coy, and Mags will be planting seed in the garden for plants, flowers, and vegetables, while Dad prepares the rows and Mom will guide the 3 kids where to plant their seeds. The rows are long and the path between each row has room to walk, and later when the fruits, vegetables, and flowers are ready to pick, there will be room to walk along the paths of the rows to gather them and take the produce items to the market to sell. By doing these steps, the whole family is helping to provide food and beauty to other families in their community. And a fresh bouquet of flowers is always a delight. Today, though, is the day of planting seed. To grow beautiful things, you have to labor to plant and tend your garden for it to produce abundantly. Tending your garden requires that you first prepare the ground you are to plant upon. By working up the ground to a manageable, softened dirt that will flow through your fingers without just being one big clod of mud or dirt or rock. Dad has been working on this part of the preparation by using a tiller to break up the hard ground after a winter's freeze and spring thaw and rains. Once the dirt is workable, meaning you can sift through the dirt easily, then he makes steady, straight rows to plant the seed. This is where Mom comes in and allocates or assigns which rows get what plant, seed, or flower to each row. Some rows will be planted in seed, and then you must water it, and the sun will bring up its beautiful sprout, which is most exciting, because when Mav, Coy, and Mag see the sprout, they know they've done a good job and their seed is growing. Now the time and work to keep that sprout healthy and growing is the next task to making a good garden. They must keep the ground moist, and the location where Dad chose to work up the ground to make the garden must be in a sunny location. If it is too shady, the plants will not grow to their best potential. And that is an essential part of growing a garden. Once the plants begin to grow, each day or so, Mav, Coy, and Mag will go into the garden and pull up little grasses and weeds. If they do not, the weeds and grasses will grow faster than the plant, and the plant will lose a lot of nutrients it needs to grow to these weeds and grasses. So it is important to keep these weeds and grasses from your garden. Gardening is a lot of work, and as the old-timers say, back-breaking. Meaning you are bent over a lot pulling up weeds and breaking off stems and dead leaves that aren't producing or stunt the productivity of the plant. Mom's job in choosing where to plant items is very important too, because you do not want to place the plants that grow taller than others in front toward the sunshine, or when the sun in the sky moves from east to west, and the taller plants are the only plant to get sunlight, causing shade to fall upon the shorter, smaller plant, and then those shorter, smaller plants will not make their vegetables as abundant. Today is a good day for planting seed. The sun will be up bright, and later in the day it will be hot, so the family needs to get to work on planting the garden before the heat of the hot sun overcomes this nice, sweet morning air. Mav is in charge of planting the actual tomato plants. These are seeds already grown in a container inside a greenhouse when the weather is yet a bit too cold to put them into the ground, for winter likes to rear up a cold snap here and there once the warmth of spring starts to emerge from winter. But with the shelter of the greenhouse, the wind and cold is warded off by the walls of the greenhouse, even if it is only a durable plastic wrap that makes the wall. The clear, opaque plastic wrap allows sunlight to still shimmer through its plastic like a window of your home that you look out to see outside. You know how you can sit in front of a window in your home and feel the heat and warmth of the sun? If you don't, you should try sitting or standing at a window of your house when the sun is shining through, and you'll have some idea of the heat and warmth a plant receives when in a greenhouse, and also in direct sunlight once planted in the garden. Though in the garden there is much more sunlight received to the plant, and that means the plant needs to also be watered regularly to keep the ground moist for the root of the plant that is deep in the ground to absorb the water to help it grow. Your garden ground is similar to a sponge. It will retain or hold so much water in each bit of dust and dirt until the sun dries it out or the plant has absorbed it, and then the garden ground gets dry and cracked if you do not keep it watered to keep the ground moist. It, too, is very important not to overwater, for this can cause your plants to get yellowed and wilt. Gardening appears easy, but to one who has never done it, it can be very challenging. It takes time, effort, patience, practice, and gentleness. Some people make it look so easy, but that is like someone who has a pleasant voice to hear them sing. They make it sound so easy. But not everyone has the inept ability to do all things. But we can all try and try our best, till we find what it is that is our path to do. This just means that though you have the potential to do anything, not all things were meant for you to do yourself. We are all here to help one another. Though this is sometimes hard to do, it is good practice to work and play with others. That is how I learn. You learn, and then we all gain something either of what you learned or what you done. Now, back to the garden. Koi, his job is to water each plant after Mav has planted them into the soft ground. This allows the plant to get settled into its new dirt and to allow the roots of the plant to start anchoring into the ground to absorb moisture and nutrients that nature's ground provides, and to keep firm in the ground when wind and rains do come, to not be washed away. Mag, she is putting in the seeds as Mom makes a hole to plant them in. Mag will put 2 or 3 seeds in each hole. This allows the seeds to germinate to produce the plant it is trying to grow. Once the seeds are planted, Mav and Koi both will come along and gently water in the seed, allowing them to begin to grow. Seeds take a week, 2 weeks, or 3 to begin to show a sprout above the ground, depending on the type of seed it is. Once the seeds have sprouted and grow into the plant they are to be, a stake is sometimes needed to hold them upright to not fall over and break on a windy day, or even a calm day if the stem can't hold the height of the plant yet. As a plant continues to grow, the stalk of that plant or its stem grows larger in circumference. That is, in how big around it is, and this is what strengthens the plant to not bend or break as easily. Now that Dad has tilled the garden, Mav has planted the tomato plants, Coy has watered the ground, and Mags and Mom have planted the seeds. Their garden is ready to what? Yes, wait. Wait? What do you mean, wait? Now you will need to keep the ground watered, but not too much water, and let the sunshine do its work to heat up the ground and the seeds. The plants will absorb the sunshine and the water and the nutrients from the ground and begin to grow. It is very exciting once you see how a garden grows. The sense of accomplishment you receive, that the garden, it just is. So that brings us to today. Today is show and tell at school. If you have never had show and tell at your school, this is what it is. You choose an item or subject you have knowledge about and take it to school to show it to the other children and then tell them about that item or subject. So today, Mav is showing one of the tomato plants he grew in the garden by bringing a small tomato plant to school, then having several pictures of the ones he planted in the garden to show the stages of their growth in the garden, from a small plant to a larger plant to a plant that bears its fruit, or in this case, a tomato. Coy brought a planter of dirt and some fresh seeds to allow the other children to plant the seeds in the dirt in a little planter pot, and each child got to take the seed they planted home with them to water and care for it, to watch it grow. He also had pictures of how the seeds in his garden changed to little sprouts coming up out of the ground to becoming a plant, to a larger plant, and finally produce its fruit, just like Mav's plant that was started in the greenhouse. Mags brought an arrangement of flowers for their teacher to sit on her desk that was cut from the fresh flowers that were grown from the seeds she helped to plant in their garden. All the children learned how the groceries you buy in the store have to first be grown in a garden, and then it is gathered as it ripens, and some items are then canned and placed in jars to be sold to families who don't have their own garden, and this is how we each one help one another. Mav, Coy, and Mag have a garden of their father and mother's, and they were able to bring its abundance to the children at school to take to their home where they may not have a garden of their own, and this is sharing. It also helps those who may need food that might not otherwise have gotten any. And best of all, it is fresh out of the garden, tasting the best. I hope you have enjoyed our little journey to a simple story of planting seed. May your seed be sown to reap abundant to all whom your path encounters. Remember, new life begins in the seed, and how you tend it, meaning to care for it, to nurture and water it, depends on you. Remember also, in everything you do, there is always learning involved. Rarely can we just do it and it be done, and never is anything done perfect. Perfection is in the action of doing, not only in how and why we do it, but in the actual movement to do it, not just dream about it. Things first get done in thought, like the seed, asking, "How would I do this?" Then, in preparation, like the tilling of the dirt to break up the clumps for planting, which answers the question of, "What do I need to do this?" And finally, putting action to the thought by doing. Together, these steps will bring forth the bounty of your efforts, like a garden produces and grows its fruit. You will be rewarded with accomplishment and satisfaction, even when you don't quite do everything at its best. That is where learning happens. So you know next time how it should be done, and in each new time you do something again, you generally keep trying to add something new, and the growing cycle continues, so that you and I, in each new one thing that we do every day, we learn. May your spring and summertime bring fresh flowers to your garden. The end. A lesson to learn. Don't look at the amount of time it took for you to achieve something. Look instead to the bounty that was produced even in one single seed and one individual tomato that in itself abounds many seeds. Similar to relationships that take time to bond together as a best friend. One is all you need. But good fruit abounds much, much more and plentiful. So keep a good outlook on life no matter the hardships of walking through life's path of hills and curves. Keep sight of that distant goal you strive to reach. Like looking at the horizon to its furthest point. That is what keeps you focused to walk straight a path made for you. When you focus too much on self and not on those around you, that's when sight of your path becomes gray and darkened to the light you first saw of your potential in what and where you wish to be. The picture is always clearer when viewing its entirety, though you cannot see its entirety until after you've walked through the path you are on. Focusing too close to one tiny speck can lead you astray, losing sight of the horizon you wish to reach. Each one step is important, but no one step alone gains the whole goal you wish to achieve. It may appear that one step gained it all, but reality you had to make many steps to reach even that one where the gain finally flourished, producing its fruit like a garden in full bloom and blossom. So keep reaching, keep searching, there you will find, though the picture painted may produce a different view than you imagined, it will always be more than you imagined. This has been a Fallen Whispers, trademark, copyright 2003 by Kimberly. Short story, book 11, copyright April 9th, 2022 by Kimberly. See you next time on Book Drive, a Dandelion Breeze audio presentation. Planting seed while you read.